Hey, today I'll be giving you a comparison of VSeeFace and VNyan, focusing particularly on the basics, from tracking expressiveness and movement range, to lighting adjustments and navigating some general settings to fine-tune your model how you like it. So to start with, for both, you're able to turn them fully around just by using the Alt or Control keys. For turn range, you can kind of turn both of them pretty good. Just kind of depends on your settings, what it'll allow for the range of turn. So I believe for VSeeFace, it's movement range. So if I turn that up, it'll kind of move around more as I turn my head. Although turning that up will, as you can see, make the neck a little bit janky on VSeeFace over here. By the way, VSeeFace is the left and VNyan is on the right. So I want to go ahead and reset the tracking, just reset the position for VSeeFace there. The mouth expression range. So it's a little bit different on each for that. They each have different parts that they're better for. So like the O that I'm doing there, VSeeFace is actually a little bit better there. Trying to do like a shocked face is a little bit difficult depending on some of your settings and the blend shapes and how each one affects that. Trying to get VNyan to do it because it can. It's just sometimes a little bit difficult. But overall, they both track pretty closely to what you're doing. So they're very on spot for when your lips part. And it doesn't really matter how much you're moving around. It'll still pretty much get that quite easily for both. Okay, I figured out what it was for why VNyan wasn't doing the O shape. So doing it for VSeeFace is a little bit different than doing it for VNyan. So for VNyan, to make the O shape of the mouth, you have to like push your lips out in an O shape. But it also has to be kind of wide. It can't be thin or close together. You have to kind of keep a medium distance around your lip to have the proper O shape for it to catch it. VSeeFace will catch the same, it looks like a little bit there. But for VSeeFace, it's easier to get the O shape if you're just opening your mouth like a surprise face. Kind of like that. So that's how it works for both of those. So moving on to neck and shoulders. So as you can see, there's quite the difference just tilting your head between VSeeFace and VNyan. So for VSeeFace, let me see if I can't get my mouse showing in there. I have it running on spout, but if you look between like the shoulder up in the hood and the base of the neck, you can see it kind of stretches in VSeeFace, whereas for VNyan, it doesn't really do that. It more bends the neck. There's obviously a little bit of stretch there. You can see it a little, but it doesn't look nearly as unnatural as it does in VSeeFace. There are several apps that will do that. I believe Reality is another one. I don't think Hyper does it anymore. I tested that like this morning. I was looking at it and I didn't see it there, but they used to have that. But both other apps can also have the same shoulder pull as VSeeFace does. So personally, I like VNyan for not having that, and you can still do pretty much everything that you would want to, if not more, than in VSeeFace, in my opinion, at least from what I've seen of it so far. Let's see, tracking recovery. So I'll go ahead and move on to this one. Obviously, I've already dealt with talking reactivity. It's pretty spot on. But tracking recovery is very different. Sorry for my cough. I've been coughing all week. So, uh, yeah, perfect example here. So both will end up shifted around a little bit. Even VNyan is a little bit off center right now, even if you can't tell. But VSeeFace is it's a little bit rougher. You get that whole janky neck again, just from going off screen half the time. So look into there, you can tell it was a little bit off, but not by much for VNyan. But VSeeFace got way off. It's a little rough. So yeah, tracking recovery is definitely better in VNyan, especially in my opinion, because I've been using VSeeFace longer. As I used it from the start of any of the VTubing I've done on my computer. I only started using VNyan probably a month ago, and I far prefer it already, just from the little bit of messing around I've done with it. So that's all of the like tracking stuff, I think, as far as I can tell for basics. Just stuff that'll really be noticeable or useful for you to know. So I'll go ahead and move on to settings for both. So let me see. Let me go ahead and try and swap these to game captures. Gotta set these up. All right, so we have VNyan up right now. Let's see, move that window around. So these are the settings for VNyan. This isn't the VMC layers here. You're probably not going to mess with for basic stuff. I've not done anything with those. They're actually, I believe, off right now. So, well, no, I don't know. I don't think they're doing anything, but I'm not sure. Leap motion, you'll only use that if you actually have that. But that's basically a hand tracking thing. However, I believe at least VNyan has built-in hand tracking. I don't remember if VSeeFace does. I'll check in a second. But just going through some of the settings here, you've got gaze strength, locomotion, which is, so let me go ahead and turn that up. So you see how I'm moving a little bit more to the sides and such. I believe that's about what that does. I kind of just turn it off for here. I've not really messed with these, I don't believe. Jitter removal, I did turn up just because it helped a little bit with some stuff. Smoothing, I've set to 0.7. Let me move this over a little bit. There we go. Depth range, altitude range. I believe that's like the movement of the body up and down. I've turned that down quite a bit, I believe. I don't remember where it was at the start. That's about where I've got it for mine. Movement range, that's the whole everything, just no matter where your body goes. I don't have mirror tracking on for VNyan right now. Oh, I'm looking at ARKit. Why am I looking at that? Sorry. These are the ones I've actually messed with right here. You can probably tell I don't mess with the settings a whole lot. You don't really have to. You just mess around with it a little bit at the start to fine tune it. So that's the kind of stuff I'm showing right now. So base layer, I've set to 77 for arm angle. So you see how there's space between the arms and the hoodie. I've set it at that, so it's relatively close, but it's not like so close that you can't tell that there's a separation. Let's see. Root rotation, I don't think I'm messing with that. I think that's been the same the whole time. Use eye bones. I have link eye blinks off. That way I can do this. Let's see. Mirror tracking I do have on. So that is on for VNyan. Plant feet. Yeah, I keep that pretty on. I don't think that really has much effect unless I zoom out. Maybe so. Okay, I don't think that has any effect whether on or off. Okay. Get that zoomed back in. Movement range, that's down quite a bit because I don't want it flying around. When it's first set up, I believe it's closer to up here, or at least half. So I turned that way down. Rotation range, I don't think I messed with. Head tilt range, I don't remember if I messed with that. You'd have to check the default settings for when you set it up if you do. Nod range, I have upped a little bit, I believe. I turned those all the way down because I didn't want myself going up too far or down too far when I move my head up or down. Pelvis stiffness, I don't remember if I've messed with. I did turn up or turn. I think I might have turned that up a little bit for tracking smoothing. I'm pretty sure I turned up both of these. No, I just turned this one up. Jitter removal, I turned down actually, I believe, for this one. Head, neck, spine, hip, root, arms, legs, locomotion. I don't think I've messed with those. Gaze strength, I think, is still the same. So that's some of those settings just for your general tracking around in VNyan. Then you get to ARKit. So basically, it's just this first couple sections here that you'll be using for basic stuff. This stuff is more costly. You definitely will be paying a lot for stuff like this on your models, or even for the hand tracking for Leap Motion. I think that's like $100 at least. Let's see, tracking effects. I don't believe I've messed with these, if at all, or at least very much. I did turn this on. I don't remember if I messed with those. I probably did a little bit. I know I messed with arm sway, so I limited like how far out it goes. So as you see my avatar breathing, you'll see the arms move out and in every so often, like slowly as they do. So I limited that, and then I don't think I messed with that one or that one or that one. I probably messed with this one a little bit. Yeah. So I'll move that back to one. Yeah, definitely messed with this one. So I want it close, but not too close. So it's not a whole lot of settings in here, but it'll let you kind of mess around with a little bit more to make it more animated, not so stiff like it is in VSeeFace. I don't think I messed with this a whole lot. This is all about the same. And then you've just got kind of the rest of all of this. So I don't think I've messed with anything almost at all in these ones here. I think, pardon my cough again. I think I did turn this down a little bit, not by much. So what that does is like a bit of a zoom in or zoom out for here. For VSeeFace, it's actually a bit different. So upping the focal length or downing it will actually like make your avatar a bit wider or thinner. So I'll show that when I switch over to there. But yeah, that should be all of the stuff I've really messed with in VSeeFace. Hopefully gives a little bit of an explanation for VNyan that I've messed with. So hopefully gives a little bit of an explanation of those for like what stuff does, so you're not just going in blind, like I did. So that took me a second to figure out, but it's not too bad. Let's see, turn on VNyan's game capture. There we go. So like I said with VSeeFace's focal length, I turn that down, it gets really weird. So I have that all the way up in here. Let's see, blink sensitivity. It's about that. Blink smoothing. Smart blink threshold. I know I've messed with like all of these before just to see what they do and then kind of reset them and move some of the certain stuff around. So there's definitely some playing around with stuff to do, in my opinion. Gaze strength, look down, sensitivity, offset, offset left and right, eyebrow strength, sensitivity, offset. Most of these are kind of at defaults, so you won't probably change too many of them. So I'll just kind of click through each of these real quick. By the way, I'm clicking and holding on each of these. If you just click somewhere, it will shift it. You have to click and hold. You cannot just tap it. So that's all of those clicked through. Down here, these are actually relatively important. I do have that on. This is important here. Increase process priority. That helps make sure that you're not getting too much lag on your model. So I would definitely recommend turning that on. Most computers probably won't have an issue with it, but if you have a lower quality computer where it just doesn't have as much hardware, which is how my stuff started out. I had a laptop and it had an integrated graphics for the CPU, which was not great. Pardon my cough. That helped for mine. So it was getting a little bit of lag here and there. Not much, but a little. So I did turn that on just to keep it on more than any of the games I had. And then I would turn down the graphics a little bit for any of the games I had just to prevent lag in general. I don't have to do that anymore, but I do keep it on. That on, I think some of these are set on by default. That's on. This I have on. I have that on so that I can set the FPS cap to 60 instead of 30 or 15. That helps a little bit with like the movement. It's a little faster. It's not so. I don't want to say jittery. It's just smoother. And then I do have that on for avoid saturation. I think that helps a little bit with the color. I can't really tell, but it's on anyways. It doesn't impact my stuff. Let's see. While looking down, auto blink, smart blink. That again allows me to do that. So I do have that on. Reset pose on tracking loss. Prevent vertical head movement. So if I turn that off, you see my body goes up and down and everything. And I don't particularly like that as much, but you can have that on or off, whatever you want to do on it. I feel like it being more animated, that helps. But that might happen. That's probably part of why I have it off. So I have that on. I don't know if I said off a second ago. Anyways, so that's on. Face tracking is on. So obviously, I'm pretty sure that's on by default. Full lip sync, normalized mouth blend shape sounds, experimental expression. I think that helps a little bit with it catching like what you want it to. I think it's a little bit more limited what it actually will do expression-wise if you don't have that on. Got those on. I always have the application to 1920 1080 because if you make it smaller, it can force your avatar to be smaller depending on the size of the window. Well, let me resize it right now. It looks like full screen. There we go. Cap frame is 60, which again, that's this. And then I have spout to image capture so that I can run that through OBS and not show any of this when I need to mess with it on stream. And that's my camera. All right, so that's all the general settings. Let's see. And there goes that again. Goodness, I hate this coffee. I'm gonna be so glad when it's gone. Let's see. There's the lighting up here. Expression settings are over here. I don't mess with these at all. I've just not done anything to those. You can probably just play around with those a little bit. I don't really know what they do or how they impact stuff. I've kind of just left those alone. Lighting. Let's see, let me go ahead and copy this first before I do anything. Yeah. So that way I can screw it around like this. Actually, I might change it to that. Let me turn that off for the game capture. And then turn these back on. I might actually change it to that. It's a little better of a match to the colors in VNyan. Now that I do that. But yeah, the lighting, adjusting that will do changes to your shading. There we go. That'll change your shading around, the ambient light and all that. So if you want to play around with stuff, you can in here. Accidentally moving something in OBS. Whoops. So if you want to make your avatar look like this for a game, like it's a horror game or something, you can do that. I believe there's ways you can link it to the game. I think there's plugins and such that you can get through OBS. Trying to play around with it a little bit there. It actually looks relatively good. I'm gonna keep it there. And then you can up the intensity, lower it, stuff like that. Add two. Um, there we go. You gotta kind of mess with that a little bit to get it back. Shadows you can turn on. I don't really know that that does anything. I believe I had that at 2 as well. Yeah, that's the light settings for here. I have not messed with these, but those exist. And then leap motion, which again is the hand tracking. I mentioned checking for hand tracking in here earlier, so let me go ahead and look. I don't remember if they have that or not. It doesn't look like it. Yeah, I don't think VSeeFace has it built in. But if I go back to VNyan, because I still need to show the light settings there too. There we go. VNyan does have the hand tracking, so I should be able to turn that on. No, settings, tracking effects, I believe. Tracking layers. Track hands, experimental. It's a little bit jittery. It's experimental. It exists. It's there. You can kind of get it working. It doesn't really do super well, but it's there. I think you can change the way it does that. Maybe, maybe not. I might be thinking of what's it called? There's another VTuber tracking app I've tried. It's on Steam. Let me look it up real quick. It also has hand tracking, and theirs does a little bit better than VNyan's does. So let me go ahead. Waterdough, that's what it is. So Waterdough is another one. I don't really know how to mess with that one. Their settings are a lot more complicated. It's set up more like Blender. So in Blender, you can have. It's hard to explain. See if I can. So for like all the parts of the avatar, there's a map basically, and it has a bunch of different nodes, um, just connected through like curved lines or direct lines. Let me see if I can look it up. Just real quick. I can actually show it. Blender node map. So I don't think I have Waterdough installed on my computer right now to show it. That pulls it up. Da-da-da. Window capture. I think I need a browser capture. 1 second. Yeah, browser. Da-da-da. I'm getting there. 1 second. Nineteen 20. 1080. Go. So these. I can't seem to get it to zoom in on here through browser capture, but these are what I mean. So you see how there's the different nodes with lists of stuff that you have in them. That's basically how you mess with the stuff in Waterdough. And I have no idea how to do that. So if you're more used to Blender, you'll probably know what you're doing with that. And maybe Unity as well, I think might also have something like that. But I don't really mess with it so much. It's very complicated, and I don't want to get into it. Lights for VNyan. Go ahead and finish this. So same stuff basically. Intensity for each directional ambient can move it around however you want to. Shadow bias, affect world. So I believe that's a little bit like with Wardo. So you can import, I think, Unity and Blender assets or something like that. And it will basically give you a background that you can interact with. So that will allow lighting for that, shadows for that stuff, all of that. And then obviously for your avatar as well. Contact shadows. Yeah, probably turn that off. Display light. So you can make that, I think, change depending on what the dominant colors of a monitor are. So monitor 1 has VSeeFace on it right now, so that's a whole lot lighter. And then monitor 2 is VNyan, it's a little bit darker. And I generally just turn that off. So I only want it going through its normal stuff. I don't want it reactive for now, because I don't have any of that kind of stuff set up. But that's the lighting for each of those. And then you have a whole lot more in VNyan that you can do, but I don't know how to use. So you got props. That's like stuff for Twitch's integrated throwable system. So anytime you see streamers having them getting hit in the head with stuff like plushies or food or stuff on stream, I believe that's what they use for that. Pendulums, I don't know what that is, to be quite honest. Plugins, I've not messed with any of that, so I really can't help there. That's all more advanced stuff that you'd have to look elsewhere for. But yeah, that is VSeeFace versus VNyan for you. So hopefully that helps you kind of figure out what you would prefer app-wise and tracking-wise, like what works better for your hardware. Let me show the, well, maybe not show, but I'm gonna open Task Manager real quick and show. Yep. So right now I have VNyan and VSeeFace open. So looking at the resources they each take up, VSeeFace right now is on points. It's not on much CPU right now, but it's taking up about a percent down to 0.3% on CPU, about 970 megabytes, and about 5.5% of GPU. VNyan right now is taking up about 3 down to 2% of CPU, about 850 megabytes of memory, and 16% GPU. So one's a little bit heavier, it looks like, on your resources, so that may also affect what you want to use. But quite frankly, neither of them are too bad on anything. It just really depends on what your computer is stronger at and if you have certain limits you have to deal with. But yeah, that's both of those. We'll see you in the next video.